Hello again and welcome to the June update from Pennyhill Junction. Now, as you can see on the screen, I now have a good collection of track and accessories, all in preparation for laying down the first loop of permanent track onto the new baseboard. So before I get started, what I'll do is I'll just quickly talk you through some of the items that I have here. As you recall from previous videos, I'm going for code 100 Pico Streamline. So I have, at the moment for the first loop, I've got 10 lengths of the Pico Streamline code 100 Flexi Track. I've got several large and medium radius Pico turnouts, Electrofrog I'm using. Also purchased some of these Pico Electrics power feed rail joiners. Probably not the cheapest way to do it, but it avoids the need for soldering. Not overly confident on my soldering skills just yet, so I thought I'd take the opportunity and buy some of these. Also got the Pico SL10 metal conducting rail joiners, SL11 insulating rail joiners from Pico, obviously a necessity for the Electrofrog points. Also purchased pretty much the full range. I think there's only a couple of the very large radius curves that I haven't got in this track setter kit, but I've got everything that I need to hopefully get me through laying all the track for this layout. And then your standard items like your track fixing pins, using the Pico SL14, pair of track cutters. I've also got 2 rolls here of the Jarvis cork sheets. I have a roll of the 1/16 of an inch thick and also the 1/8 of an inch thick cork sheets. So the 1/16 of an inch thick cork will be used in sort of flatter areas like the sort of station, the TMD, etc. And the thicker cork sheet I'll use for the main lines, my high speed line, particularly on the bends, to give it a more prototypical look and provide a greater ballast shoulder on the layout. So before I start laying the track, I'm going to have an attempt at using this. So this is Everbuild wood filler, which has kindly been given to me by my father-in-law, who works in the building industry. So I was just going to use standard polyfiller, and the reason for this is to ensure again that my baseboard surface is completely level and flat. You'll see if I just pan across this left hand side, there's still some areas where there is gaps between the boards, which I'm really sort of keen to fill, to keep it completely flush and level and to give the best opportunity for smooth running of trains. So this is a item I've never used before, but as you can see on the tin there, it says it repairs wood permanently. So my father-in-law suggests that this is better item to use than polyfiller, because this doesn't crack and provides a very sort of solid bond to the wood surface. So I'll give that a go, and we'll see the results. Okay, so here's a look at that gap which has been filled by the wood filler. Obviously not the most smoothest or cleanest of finishes, but I'm not really concerned about what it looks like on the top surface, because obviously it's going to be covered by scenery. Actually this will be part of the carriage siding, so there'll be track and underlay going across here, but I've sanded it down a little bit is a smooth finish. It's at least bridged a gap, and it is a very solid bond. Where it's been most impressive is actually down this end here. You'll see, so I had about a 5mm gap between these two baseboard sections. What I've done is just to put a base, so I actually used some lolly sticks, long lolly sticks, sort of cylinder shape. I've run them right across the length just to make a base for the wood filler, as you can see, and I've run that right across. Not completely dry yet, but I have given it a light sanding, and as you can see, it's filled that gap quite nicely. Now there's one thing I would suggest if you do opt for the wood filler route, if you're looking to do something similar, just sort of to fill and seal the gaps in your baseboard, or any cracks or holes, etc., is it does emit some intense fumes. So I certainly would advise getting yourself a decent mask when applying this onto the baseboard, and yeah, and don't remain in the loft for too long afterwards. I say stay out for at least half an hour or so while it dries. Once it's dried, the fumes soon disappear. But while you're up here laying it down, it does get fairly intense. So the first section of track that I laid down was this medium radius right hand turnout. As I said, because this is the first time I've used flexi track and cork underlay, I wanted to start on the straight section. So that was the first section I did, running right down to the end, which is basically the end of the platform, before then turning my attention to this curved section. But coming back to this turnout, so this was the very first bit of track that I put down, and I don't know how well you can make it out. So this is electrofrog point. You can see there I've fitted the insulating rail joiners on the frog. I'm also using the Pico power feed rail joiners. You can see them just drop down from the fish plates there at either side. And if we take the camera under the baseboard, it might be a bit dark, but hopefully you've got some light there. You can just make out the feeder wires dropping down from underneath the baseboard. And if I zoom closer in, you should just make out underneath the baseboard there, I have a 10mm hole which I've put in place in preparation for when I not only transfer to the layout to DCC, but install the point motors. And what I've also done, which isn't so easy to make out, you may just see a thin piece of wire coming through the baseboard there. That's the wire that connects to the frog. As I said, these are electrofrog points, and I'll be using Pico point motors. So my plan is to have the frog wired up for continuous power and more reliability. And here's the view from the top. You can just make out the hole underneath the track where the pin from the turnout motor will come through. And as I mentioned earlier, on these flatter sections like the platform area and the TMD, I'm using a slightly thinner cork. This is the 1/16 of an inch thick cork that I'm using. And as I come out of the station onto the main line, This is using the 1/8 of an inch, slightly thicker cork, which I'm hoping will give me a more prototypical ballast shoulder. So we've only this final straight section to go, and then the final bend back into the station area. But before I do any more, I want to ensure that my electrics on wiring is working okay. So what I've done just quickly, so I'm not running DCC just yet, so still DC, but I'm connecting all the track and the points, etc., in preparation for moving to DCC. So I've got my DC controller in place, powered on. If you take a look under the baseboard, as you see, I've just put a connector block in there just to 2 of the dropper wires, using my multimeter. I'm just checking to ensure that we've got power on the track. Oh, lost connection there. Let's see, 14 volts there or thereabouts. What I'll continue to do is test each section of track going all the way around, and then I might quickly put a loco on there as well to ensure it all runs okay before I go any further. So I've popped a loco on the track now. This is my Class 57 Tintagel Castle. It runs around nice, no issues with the curves. What will happen though in just a moment is, as soon as it passes the point, it should cut out as expected. And the reason for that is, of course, as I mentioned earlier, I have the insulated rail joiner on this electrovog point. So basically what's happened is, as soon as the loco comes on contact with this rail, it will cut off, as there's no live feed to that one rail. Right, so here we are on day 3 of track laying, and all that's left to do is just complete that section here. So as I pan around, so that's that single loop. Now running right around, all fixed on the cork underlay and tested for good running. Now, I mentioned earlier on in this video and also in previous videos that this first loop that I'm fixing down is the mainline up loop. So to get an idea of what that is in terms of the full layout, I'll pop a quick image up on the screen for you so you can see my sort of final draft of my track plan, and you'll see that the mainline up loop is the red track on the image about to come on your screen now. So as I was explaining earlier on in the video, my intention is in the coming months to convert this fully to DCC with Pico point motors. Also using the Pico Electrofrog points. So when I'm done, the first point that I put down on the track, I fixed the insulating rail joiners. The rest of the points on this loop, temporarily I'm taking a different approach, just so I can have a continuous feed around the layout, just so I can test and run some trains while I'm waiting to purchase my next set of track, and also getting the bus wire and a DC controller over the next couple of months or so. But also, you may recall from earlier on, so just look at this point here, so very similar to the setup of the first one I installed. However, I've used the metal conducting rail joiner here, so I can temporarily have a continuous power feed. Again, I've got the dropper wires. Again, you'll see I've got the 10mm hole in preparation for the point motor. I also have, difficult to see here, I'll zoom close, you can just see the end of it there. So that's the frog wire, which will be connected to the point motor at some point in the future. But what I haven't yet done, and again, when I do convert to DCC and install the point motors, I'll take the points out to make sure I have them fully prepared. So you'll see here, these two rails are joined by a very small wire. So when you convert to DCC, as I'm sure many of you already know, these small wires need to be removed. And on the underside of the point, let me look better from here. So these are the two wires which need to be removed when going to DCC with the point motor, obviously powering the frog. Then you just need a bit of wire across both these tracks for more reliable running even on dirty tracks. So there's still some work I need to do on the points when I go to install the point motors, so that's why these will be left in place fairly loose. You can see I've left big gaps here, taken the sleepers out temporarily so I could just slide across the rail joiners, making it easy to remove the point and then do the final stages of preparation before installing the point motors. And there we have it, the final section is complete, and that noise you can hear in the background is my Class 66 flying around the track at maximum speed, giving it a good test, making sure there's no derailment. It's been a slow and painful process, but I wanted to ensure that I got it absolutely spot on. Here it comes again. Very pleased with the result. The next thing I'm going to do is just go around and tidy up these pieces of cork underlay, particularly around the curved sections, just so we have, similar to the straight, we have the sort of 5mm banking on each side. So I'll get that all tidied up, get the baseboard tidied up, and then I might put the Night Riviera on with some Mark III sleeper coaches and see how that looks. So there we have it, all tidied up now. The underlay has been cut to size, all the edges tidied up, and if we follow the Night Riviera, as it passes around, sure you all agree. Good 3 days of work complete. So what I put over here is just some old Hornby platforms, just to get an idea of the length of the platform. This will be the outside platform, so this will be generally the high-speed trains coming in on this platform. Being that it's the longest platform, which I'm hoping will fit a rake of 6 or 7 Mark III coaches on a HST. Come around again. But as we follow the line, for 57 to catch up, as we follow the track round, but as I said earlier, this is the main line up route. So this point here takes us on to the down, which then subsequently goes off into the carriage sidings. This point here will take you off, and then we'll start the incline up onto the elevated section at the rear of the board. And this will be the return incline. So as trains come back down off the incline, move back onto this line here. And then this point here, right in front of you, will be where the down line can join onto the up, and vice versa. So to finish up the June update, I just wanted to show you a little bit of scenic work I've been doing following the laying of the track. Yeah, I'm not looking to do too much scenery at the moment until all the tracks laid down, so I can be absolutely sure that what space I have for the various sort of scenic areas. But this particular area here, as I say, is just off to the right of the station. I know this area in particular is not going to be covered by any track, so I thought I'd have a first attempt at putting some scenery down on the baseboard. So I've recently done a video just giving a review of the Metcalfe tarmac sheets and self-adhesive paving slabs. So I've progressed a bit more since that video, as you can see. This road here, so this is the station road, so this main station building, just be up the top there, just in front of that green cutting mat. So the station road, once you bypass the station, you now have the station car park, the entrance in. Fortunately I've run out of materials to do the back wall, but so I'll do that sometime in the near future. Also need to add some additional detail, perhaps some weathering on the road surface, manhole covers, drains, etc. Obviously the road markings and car park spaces need to be put down. But just over here on the right, another little gift I got for my birthday was the Metcalfe service station. So that's been built and put in place. Again, really fits in nicely. With this scene here. So now this road will continue. So you split off into the one-way system around the village. And the next item I'll be looking to purchase will be the Metcalfe coaching inn. Also the Metcalfe village stores as I start to work my way around. However, I don't think I'll progress any further with the scenery. As I said, until I have the track down. You know, I have my measurements in place at the moment, so this is sort of where the track border comes up to, perhaps maybe about 5 to 10 mil in from that line. But I don't want to advance any further, just in case I have a change of plans or the initial plans don't work exactly how I want them. So I won't go any further with any scenery until that's all completed and all the track is down. But very pleased with my first attempt at some scenery on the layout. And so this is all Metcalfe stuff, the self-adhesive paving slabs, tarmac sheets, so which give a great effect. And we've got the building there, the service station. Again, excellent detail. And a really nice kit to build. And a great start. So that's it for this month. Thanks again for watching. Hope you're still enjoying the content. You know, things are progressing. I think June and July will be a bit of a slower month now. We'll see with the warmer weather on the way. It's already starting to get quite warm up here in the loft. So I was thinking we'll see more progress now towards the latter end of the summer, early autumn. So for now, enjoy hopefully some warmer weather, and see you all again soon. Bye for now.